Okay, design students, in this second video we're now going to look at how I made the paint can character from start to finish. So if we remember, the paint can character here looks like this guy. We're going to look at how he is made. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all the examples from the last video. So we have a clean slate. And we're going to start with a rectangle. So I want to make a rectangle that's a little bit taller than it is wide. And I want to increase the corner section here till I get sort of a nice rounding on the bottom there. Now, another way I could do this would be to leave it plain and only round some of the corners. But we get to cheat a little bit. Always work smarter, not harder. We get to cheat a little bit because it'll get covered up by this piece at the top. So the next bit I'm going to do is I'm going to make another rectangle that covers that curve there. I'm going to drag it down till it's about there. Lines up with the top. Looks about right. Maybe it's a little shorter. And I'm lining them up on center here, which I can also do using the alignment tools. I'm going to increase this one's corner till it makes me stop, which is when I get these nice round bits on the edges. So I think I'm going to make the can itself, clicking with my color scheme here, this color, and I want the top edge of the can to be yellow, because it's going to be like yellow or orange paint spilling over. All right, next we're going to look at how to make the angle at the top for the paint can. That's done using my ellipse tool, and I'm going to hold Shift. And basically, I want it to be slightly wider than the can itself, but at least as wide as the top. And I'm going to try to line it up with the center here. And luckily, my guides do a pretty good job of giving that to me. Now, we're going to do some special cheating here. I'm going to get rid of the fill. Click that trash can. I'm going to add a border. And I'm going to increase it till I feel like I like the thickness of it, and it looks like the handle of the can. That looks about right. But I don't need this bit down here. So I'm going to come in here and change this angle from 180 to 0, which makes it a half circle. And then I think I'm going to make it open, which is going to make it so that I don't have that inside line. And last but not least, I'm going to right-click on it and vectorize the border so it becomes a shape. I'm going to click the color and match it to the top of the can, and then maybe move it down so that we're on the page. This same trick with the half circle is going to be used for our arms and legs. So I'm going to click to the center, and this time I'm holding Alt while making the circle so it can be made from the center. I want like a nice big one here. Again, same deal, no fill, yes border, and I want significantly thicker this time if I look at this one, because these are going to be our arms and legs. Once again, open, and I'll make the first one a 0. No, I want the arms and legs to go up and down. So we'll leave that at 180, and we'll make this one a 0. Now you can play with these numbers to have one arm be longer than another. You can do like 140 here, and it'll shorten one side. That's what I did with the apple. But this looks okay. I'm going to go into my border settings and give him little rounded fists. And once again, I'm going to vectorize the border. Now, the reason we're vectorizing is because later we're going to intersect with some of these to do our shadows. This one, again, I'm going to make the arms, and I think I'm going to copy the yellow again to be my arms. And I can either send it to back, or I'm just going to drag it here so it's behind. And I'll lock my palette so it doesn't get in the way. So there's those arms. Now, I could just copy these legs and make them smaller, but then the whole thing gets smaller. So instead, I think I'm going to make one more circle from the center, pull it out, make it open, I want a 0 here, so it has that half bit. Get rid of my fill, give myself a border. I think it was somewhere around like there, somewhere in the 45 range, I think. Once again, give myself little rounded feet. And then I'm going to vectorize the border and copy the color for my legs. Move this down and drag it so that it's behind the paint can. Getting somewhere pretty quick and easy. All right, our next trick is going to be the mouth. Once again, it is a circle. And once again, we are going to make it only half. That starts to look like the right shape. I'm holding Alt to make it a little bigger. This time we don't care about the border, we care about the shape. But I do want to make an intersection for it to have the tongue. So I'm going to make a copy of the mouth directly in place. So Control C, Control V, so it ends up entirely atop. And then I'm going to make a new circle, holding Alt, and wait till I get an intersection that I thought looked pretty good to be the tongue. Now I can select the top and bottom and make it an intersect object. If I go ahead and let's try some colors here. I'm going to go that as my tongue, or maybe my tongue will be orange, and I'll make the background here the red. Okay. Keep in mind we made this perfect intersection here and it happens to just line up. It is a separate object. I can move it out of the way. Next, we just need some eyes. Those are simple circles. Something like that. Pick a color. I'm going to stick with the dark one. Drag it over. You can always add more detail and more emotion to these guys by like controlling where their eyes are. The wider the eyes, usually the cuter it is. I like to try to line them up right above the corner of the mouth, I think is a good look. Now if we go back and look at my original, we can see there's some paint coming down the front here, and this is a complicated shape. So let's look at how to make that guy. I'm going to make a rectangle for the paint coming down the front. Something like this. Then I'm going to hold Alt and copy it 2 times over so it has the same exact width I'm looking for. In retrospect, I think I want these to be a little bit wider, so I'm going to select all 3 and just sort of stretch them this way. Just want them all to be a bit wider. Now, this one gets to be really short, something like there, and this one gets to be sort of like a middle bit, and this one comes down the face, and maybe I grab all the face bits and I move them a little lower here. I'm holding Shift, and I'm just going to press down arrow on my keyboard. Now, these objects all get added together, so we're going to get a union here. And it looks like those weren't fully overlapping, so maybe I move this one over a little bit. Try again, union. And we're actually missing what would be this bit here, but we'll look at that in a minute. So what we want to do is get these like nice curves around the edges. So let's look at this in sub-select mode. Actually, the first thing we need to do is take this object, because it's a compound object, we need to convert it to a path. So it becomes one shape. And then in sub-select, we can see if there are any extra vertices. And there's a couple extra ones right here. So I'm just going to delete them. Sometimes there's 2, which you can tell if you move it. Like this one might have extra. No, I'm going to hit Control Z. But this is all good. I want to, if we look at our original here, he has these curved like this. I'm going to select all of these, and then I'm going to slowly grab the corner until they sort of look right. That's not bad. This isn't perfect. In fact, I'm pretty sure how I originally did this is I just made circles that I added and subtracted from it. So let's look at that. I'm going to undo this. All the way out. There we go. And instead, I'm going to look to add some circles. I'm going to try to make a circle here that's exactly the size width of this. Not quite, but I'm going to hold shift till it matches. There we go. I'm going to move it down till it just lines up on the edge. Hold alt and do the same thing here till it lines up on this edge. Hold shift. Hold alt to make another copy. Pull this till it lines up on that edge. Looks good to me. And then I will need some over here, I guess, with some additional rectangle, but we'll get to that in a minute. So each of these I'm going to select and unify, and then convert to path. This time I'm going to select both and subtract, so it cuts that away. And I'm going to convert to path. Then I'm going to select these two, and unify, and convert to path. And now I have this nice shape. It looks much cleaner. I need something here to subtract to get this curve. So I'm going to select a rectangle, drag it out till it's like there. Looks about right. Let me grab this circle and put it over here as well. Looks okay. This one and this one, unite, convert to path. This one and this one, it's on top. We're going to subtract and convert to path. And then same with this guy. Subtract and convert to path. Now I have the nice spilling over paint. I'm going to make that my orange. And now we have most of the shape. I'm missing these cute little additional stars to add some flair. Those are the easiest trick. They are stars. And when you make it, change it so the number of points is 4, and drag the size a little bit down to pinch it. Put one here, maybe make another one, rotate it a bit, hold shift and shrink it down some, put it there. I had these both match the color of the background there. And the last thing we're missing is the depth that these characters have. It has some of this shadow going on. So that is a very quick and easy fix. I'm going to create a rectangle. And I'm going to put it where I want the shadow. So here I want the arms to be in the background. So here's a shadow, and I'll rotate this same guy, holding Alt to copy, rotate this same guy around, and stretch it till it's above both legs. Now, just like all of our other fancy Pathfinder tricks, I'm going to select the arm. I'm going to Control-C, Control-V, which makes a copy of the arms. Then I'm going to select these two, and I only want the overlap portion. So, intersect. Same deal once again, Control-C, Control-V, select where I want the shadow, Pathfinder intersect. Now each of these is the exact color I want it to be. It's that yellow that the arm is, but we can switch this now to multiply, and I get the shadow. Same for the bottom one, legs, Control-C, Control-V, select both, intersect, and multiply. I think this guy will look pretty good with a solid background. So I'm going to select the background, click my eyedropper, and I'm going to try with my red here. That looks pretty good. And I don't even need this fourth color. So I can unlock and get rid of it. If I don't want them to show, click my background, turn on clip, and now I've created this character. I would select all his parts, make him a group, modify group, and now I can resize him as I see fit. In the last video, we're going to look at adding a talk bubble and also tips and tricks on how I made my other character as you look to making your own character for this project.